What are the most important things to you when you consider going on a shore excursion? Stick around and I'll explain to you what I think are the most important things. If safety and security is one of the primary things that you're going to consider when you're booking a shore excursion, potentially going with the cruise company's offers is the way to go. That way you are guaranteed that the cruise ship is going to still be there at the end of your cruise excursion, and because they're not going to leave without you. And I've been on an excursion like that in the Panama Canal, where in Costa Rica the bus was late coming back and they had to wait for the entire bus of passengers to arrive back before the boat left. And I've been on other cruises where you've watched people do that run of shame as they've missed the boat. So if security is part of your decision making, maybe going with the company's cruise excursions. Additionally, going with the company's cruise excursions is if there's any changes and cancellations, for example, the port is being missed or that service isn't being available anymore, you will get a refund. And that'll either go a direct refund to your onboard credit, or they can swap it over to another excursion provided by the company. If cost is a major focus for you and deciding on what cruise excursion that you're going to go on, and that you feel that the cruise company is going to be too expensive, and you do book something online with Travata or one of those other service providers, you can't guarantee that the company is going to be, one, a legitimate company, two, that they're going to have workplace health and safety. What happens if that cruise port is missed for some reason? Are you going to get a refund? What kind of vehicle are you going to be travelling in, etc.? And what happens if you do miss the boat? So you've saved $50, for example, on a shore excursion, but then you're late getting back to the boat and you've got to make your own way to the next cruise port to catch up to the boat. If you're in somewhere where it's really easy with lots of flights, for example, absolutely fine, run that risk. But if you're in somewhere like Ketchikan, for example, where there's only float boats to get out, it's going to become really expensive. And your travel insurance might not cover missing the boat for those type of reasons. If you do decide that you're going to purchase a cruise excursion via the cruise company, it's not uncommon to get better deals, or that you will get a excursion that you want if you book before you actually get on board. There's going to be more variety, because coming closer to the day and when everybody is on board and they've made their decisions and they have limited spots, for example, those spots may have been taken up. So the better opportunity you have to get the cruise excursion that you want is to book early before you even get on board. One of the crazy things to remember that not always the port time and the boat time are identical. So it's not uncommon for me to carry a regular watch, and that is always set on the time that is on the boat. And the other thing I do is I swap my phone time so that I have to manually adjust it instead of allowing it to pick up and the adjustment for whatever time zone it's in. And that way, if it's always on the boat time, I've got a more calm and comfortable reassurance that I'm not going to miss the boat. The other thing that I do as I'm disembarking on a shore excursion, there'll be a little sign just by the gangplank to say what is the all aboard time for staff and for passengers. So I will take a photo of that just to keep it in the back of my mind as a reassurance when I am on land, so that I know what time to come back onto the boat. If it is the first time that you are visiting a port, maybe it is a better time to go on a cruise excursion or shore excursion by the cruise company, and then you get some more familiarity with the cruise port. If you've been to a cruise port several times, you might not want to do a shore excursion. You might just want to stay on board while the boat's a little bit emptier and enjoy that space for yourself. If you have been to a cruise port several times before, you may be more confident to hire a local service provider or just catch a taxi, for example. But it'll all depend on how comfortable you feel in relation to being an independent traveller. Another thing to consider when you are looking at shore excursions, you've got to look at the length of the shore excursion. If you're a person that gets really, really tired, or if you have mobility issues and you're getting in and out of a bus, for example, or it's got a swimming element or a scuba diving element that's not related to you, well, maybe that's not the shore excursion for you. So I have been on shore excursions where somebody has got onto the bus, for example, and basically had to stay on the bus because getting on and off the bus was too much, and they were on a walker, or they were on a oxygen supply, an oxygen compressor. It wasn't necessarily oxygen per se, it was just a compressor so that delivered a higher concentration of oxygen. So they just stayed on the bus as everybody else got on and off for their photo opportunities. So when you are considering, they've also got a coding. Just have a look on the scale about the mobility. It may have a weight limit to something like a zip line, for example. It may have an age restriction in relation to quad biking or an off-roading activity. So read your shore excursion descriptions really, really well. And the other thing is it may prompt you that you needed to take something like the swimmers or the towel if it's a shore, if it's a water element, but yeah, and you might forget them. So really important to have a read of what the shore excursions are and choose one that suits your specific needs. So this first cruise out of Brisbane is June 16, 2022, is just a cruise to nowhere. So I don't have to worry about shore excursions. And in 2023, I'm trying to get in about 6 just cruises to nowhere, just that I can be on the boats and just be short weekend trips so I don't have to take annual leave or any of that type of thing. But in relation to cruises, shore excursions, there's some handy hints. Which ones would you do when you get onto cruising for 2022? This is Julie Jules, Cruise Companion, saying stay safe, everybody, and happy travels.